Hello students, from past few classes we are studying the examples on metric spaces and till now we have solved 3 examples. Now we are going to solve some more examples, but before going to the next examples, first of all we will revise whatever we have studied in the past few examples, particularly the notes and remarks that we have mentioned time to time, because these notes and remarks are very important with the objective type of questions. That is, in case of MCQ type of questions. So, let us begin with the first example. The first example that we have studied was, if R raised to n is the set of all ordered n tuples with the function d defined by d of x comma y is equal to the summation over I equal to 1 to n xi minus yi bracket square whole bracket raised to 1 by 2. 1 by 2 power means under root. So, this is for all x equal to x1, x2 up to xn and y equal to y1, y2 up to yn both belongs to the set R raised to n. Then this d is a metric and therefore R raised to n comma d is a metric space. This we have studied already. And one important note after this, we have mentioned that this metric is called as a Euclidean metric on the set R raised to n. Okay, this d function which is defined in such a manner is called as a Euclidean metric on the set R raised to n. See here, we have already mentioned that the metric d, which was studied in the example first, is called as the Euclidean metric on the set R raised to n. This is very important with the MCQ type of questions. Next one, we have studied the second example. In the second example, we have shown that the function d defined by d of sequence xn comma sequence yn equal to the summation over n equal to 1 to infinity xn minus yn bracket square whole bracket raised to 1 by 2. 1 by 2 power means under root. Then this is for all sequences xn comma yn belongs to L2. This d is again a metric on L2. And what was L2 here? Where the L2 was the set of all real sequences for which the corresponding series summation over n equal to 1 to infinity xn square converges. So, we have proved that this d function, which was defined in such a manner, is a metric on L2, and we have called this metric space L2 comma d as the Hilbert space. In the note, we have mentioned that the metric space L2 comma d of the second example is known as the Hilbert space. This is also important remark. Next one, we have studied the third example. In the third example, we have shown that if the function d dash is defined as d dash of x comma y is equal to the summation over I equal to 1 to n absolute value of xi minus yi, where x and y belongs to the set R raised to n, then this d function, which is defined in such a manner, is again a metric, and therefore the set R raised to n comma d dash is a metric space, and this metric d dash of this example is known as the rectangular metric on R raised to n. We have mentioned that the metric d dash of this third example, which was defined as d dash of x comma y is equal to the summation over I equal to 1 to n absolute value of xi minus yi. This is called as the rectangular metric on the set R raised to n. So this is also one of the important remarks. As told earlier, such remarks are important with the MCQ type of questions, that is, the objective type of examination. Next one, we'll move to the next example, which is the example number 4th. Fourth example is, prove that the set C closed interval 0 to 1 of all real valued functions continuous on the interval closed interval 0 to 1, continuous on the interval closed interval 0 to 1 with the function d, with the function d defined by d of f comma g is equal to the integration from a to b of fx minus gx bracket square and outer bracket raised to 1 by 2. 1 by 2 power means it is the square root. We have to show that the set C closed interval 0 to 1 defined with the function d as such is a metric space. Is a metric space. So we'll solve this example. Solution is given C closed interval 0 to 1 is the set of all real valued functions continuous on the interval closed interval 0 to 1, and d, which is from C closed interval 0 to 1 cross C closed interval 0 to 1 into the set R, which is the set of real numbers. Means this d is a real valued function and it is defined as, it is given by d of f comma g is equal to it is integration from a to b fx minus gx bracket square and whole bracket raised to, it is 1 by 2 means under root, square root. So we'll denote this one by the relation number 1. This is the given definition of the function d. To show that d is a metric on the given set, we have to show that d satisfies 4 conditions, and out of 4 conditions, first 3 conditions are most of the times very easy and they can be verified orally. So here also we will verify the first 3 conditions orally. So let us see. First of all is the non-negativity. From the definition of the d, it is clear that d is equal to the integration a to b fx minus gx bracket square whole bracket raised to 1 by 2. As fx and gx are the real valued functions, therefore the difference fx minus gx is a real number and square of a real number is non-negative. Therefore this integrand is a non-negative, and we know that integration of a non-negative integrand is always non-negative. Therefore this square bracket gives us a non-negative quantity, and it's a positive square root obviously will again give a non-negative quantity. Therefore d of f comma g is greater than equal to 0, means the non-negativity is established in such a manner. Number second is the coincidence. We know that d of f comma g will be equal to 0 if and only if this integral will be equal to 0, and this integral will be equal to 0 if and only if this difference fx minus gx is equal to 0, and fx minus gx will be equal to 0 if and only if fx equal to gx. Therefore the coincidence is also established. Next one, number third, is the symmetry. We have d of f comma g, which is defined in such a manner by the relation number 1. We know that integration a to b fx minus gx bracket square whole raised to 1 by 2 is same as integration a to b gx minus fx bracket square whole raised to 1 by 2, and which is the d of g comma f. Therefore the symmetry is also established. So in this way, first 3 conditions we have verified orally. Now the main thing that we have to show is the triangle inequality, which is the 4th condition. So we'll prove the triangle inequality. But as in the example first, before proving the triangle inequality, we have established one result. Similarly, here also we will establish one result by using which we will prove the triangle inequality. So let us proceed. So first of all, we will obtain one important result. For that purpose, let us consider a function, and that function is, suppose, let us denote it by the phi of t. Let us consider a function phi of t, which is defined as integration a to b t into f of x plus g of x, this bracket square dx, and where t belongs to the closed interval a to b. If t is any one point in the closed interval a to b, then phi of t function we have defined in such a manner. Okay, we'll simplify this one. Then this is equal to, so this is equal to the integration a to b t square f square x dx plus integration a to b, it is 2t f of x into g of x dx, and plus the last one term is integration a to b g square x dx. Okay, we have used the formula a plus b whole square for simplifying this square bracket. Now which is equal to, this is same as, we are integrating with respect to x and t is constant, therefore we'll keep this t square outside the integral. So we'll get this is equal to t square into integration a to b f square dx, f square x dx, then plus in the middle term also this t is independent of the integral, so therefore we'll keep this 2t outside the integral, and we'll get 2t integration a to b f of x into g of x dx, and the last term is plus, it is integration a to b g square x dx. So like such we get. Okay, now observe here, we have simplified the phi of t. Okay, and this phi of t now is in the form of quadratic equation, and this is a quadratic in t. This is quadratic in t, so I will mention the coefficients of t square, t, and so on with another color so that it will be easy to compare for you. Okay, so this is our a, capital A I will denote. Then 2 into in this integral, this is our b, and this last one term is c. Now it is in the form a t square plus bt plus c. Okay, this is quadratic in t, where a is denoted by the first one here, this is b, and this one is c. This is a quadratic in t, and phi of t is greater than equal to 0 for all t belongs to closed interval a to b, and therefore discriminant of this quadratic, which is in t, will be obviously non-positive, which means that what we'll have here, so we will have here b square minus 4ac, b square minus 4ac is less than equal to 0. It is non-positive, means less than equal to 0. That is, the same thing can also be written as b square is less than equal to 4ac. Okay, so it is this. And if you remember, in the first example also we have derived similar relationship. So we'll return to our example. As phi of t is greater than equal to 0 for all the values of t belongs to closed interval a to b. As phi of t greater than equal to 0 for all t belongs to closed interval a to b, therefore the discriminant Therefore, the discriminant of the quadratic in T, this was the quadratic in T, should be non-positive. It should be non-positive. Non-positive means the discriminant b square minus 4ac should be less than equal to 0, as discussed just 2 minutes before. And this should be non-positive means, therefore, this implies that discriminant means square of this 2 into this one. Okay, so this implies that 2 into integration a to b fx into gx dx. This one, this is our b, it's a square, this is b square. It must be less than equal to 4ac. 4ac means 4 into a. A is here, this one, which is the integration a to b. F square x dx into c. C means it is integration a to b. G square x dx. So it is this. Okay, b square minus 4ac means this. Now next one, if we take the square of left hand side, then 2 square 4 will get cancelled with this 4 of the right hand side. This 4 will get cancelled with this 4. Okay, and we will be left with integration a to b. Integration a to b, it is fx into gx. Fx into gx dx whole square. This is the left hand side that will be left, and it will be less than equal to. Now we'll write down the right hand side in a form so that it will look like a perfect square. So therefore the right hand side can be written as, it is integration a to b f square x dx to the power 1 by 2, means it's a square root and then it's a square. Similarly, the second factor can be written as integration a to b g square x dx to the power 1 by 2 and it's a square. Okay, it is this. Now left hand side is a perfect square, right hand side is also a perfect square, and both are non-negative. Therefore by taking positive square root of both sides we will get. So this implies that integration a to b fx gx dx fx gx dx, this will be less than equal to, this will be less than equal to integration a to b f square x dx raised to 1 by 2. Okay, after taking the square root, this square means power 2 will be cancelled, and into the second factor is integration a to b g square x dx bracket raised to 1 by 2. Let us denote this by the next number. This is our relation number second. Okay, next one. Now using this relationship, we are going to prove the triangle inequality. For that purpose, we require the three functions, means the three members of the set C. So let f g h belongs to the, let f g h belongs to the C closed interval 0 to 1. Okay, so then we have Then we have d of f comma h plus d of h comma g bracket square whole square. Okay, so this is equal to, use the definition of d function of this example. So this is equal to outer square bracket as it is integration a to b fx minus hx bracket square dx, and this outer bracket raised to 1 by 2. Okay, this much is the value of d of f comma h. Then next term is plus, it is integration a to b hx minus gx minus gx bracket square dx bracket raised to 1 by 2. This is d of h comma g, and then outer bracket as it is raised to 2 means it's a square. So like such we have written the d of f comma h plus d of h comma g whole square. Okay, it is this. We will simplify this. So this is equal to square of the first term is integration a to b fx minus hx bracket square dx. This is the square of the first term. Then it is plus square of the second term is integration a to b hx minus gx whole square dx, and then the middle term is the product of these two terms into 2, and it is plus, it is 2 times integration a to b fx minus hx bracket square dx to the power 1 by 2 into integration a to b hx minus gx bracket square dx, like such we have. Okay, now next, now here we are going to use the relation number second which we have established just now. Okay, so this relation number second which you have obtained just now, that we are going to use in the last term of the right hand side, and therefore now this will be greater than equal to, the first term will keep as it is, which was the integration a to b fx minus hx whole square, this bracket square dx, first term as it is. Then second term also as it is, which is the integration a to b hx minus gx bracket square dx, and in the middle term we are using that relation number second, and therefore we will get plus, it is 2 times integration a to b, it is fx minus hx and into, it is hx minus gx and into dx. Okay, this is by using the relation number second. Now if you observe the right hand side carefully, then it is a perfect square. So this right hand side can be written as, it is equal to the integration a to b fx minus hx, fx minus hx, then plus hx minus gx. This is the second term, and the first term was this, okay, whole square dx. It was the perfect square of this term. Now if you observe this carefully, then here minus hx and plus hx will get cancelled, and will be left with this is equal to integration a to b fx minus gx bracket square dx, and it is nothing but it can be written in the form that is equal to the integration a to b fx minus gx bracket square, this one, it's a 1/2 power, will enclose this in a square bracket, so 1/2 power and raised to 2 means it's a square, so it can be written in such a manner, okay. And now this is nothing but this is d of f comma g whole square, so which is equal to d of f comma g whole square by using the definition of d function, okay. So see here what we have proved. We have proved that d of f comma h plus d of h comma g whole square, this is greater than equal to d of f comma g whole square, okay. So this we have proved. Now both the sides are non-negative, therefore taking the positive square root of both sides we get by taking the positive square root of both sides we get d of f comma h plus d of h comma g, this is greater than equal to the d of f comma g, okay. And this is for all f, g, h belongs to the given set C closed interval 0 to 1, and which is the required triangle inequality, and hence we can say that the triangle inequality is satisfied. So therefore triangle inequality holds. Therefore triangle inequality holds. Triangle inequality holds. Hence D is a metric. Hence D is a metric on the given set C closed interval 0 to 1, and hence the set C closed interval 0 to 1 along with the metric D is a metric space. This is a metric space. So like such we have solved this example. So in this way we have solved this example. With this example we'll stop here and we'll continue in the next class. Thank you.